All right, so welcome everyone. We're right here in the middle of the holiday season 2020. Can you believe what a crazy year it has been? Mike and I are here for one final market update and COVID update for 2020. And welcome, Michael.
Thanks, John.
So, Michael, tell us a little bit about what is going on. We all are very well of COVID now and the safe practices that we have in place. But what's going on in the building industry first? Let's talk a little bit about that.
Sure. So, high level, all the practices that we discussed in our COVID update initially are still in place, obviously, because the disease is still here, right? But ironically, maybe paradoxically, the building industry has exploded, home buildings, right? So obviously, partially due to people have changed their work practices, so they need space at home to work. It could be with kids and schooling, but this is the largest uptick in sales that I've ever seen ever. I mean, it's just odd. In fact, it's so the market is so hot that that some of the lumber suppliers, instead of shipping to the some of the lumber yards, instead of shipping to the suppliers, are shipping directly to the field. So
it's incredible.
We've seen increases of over 100% in lumber and plywood. So you can imagine how many wood products are out there. It's just a ton of demand. And for the first time in Stanley Martin Custom Homes history, we had to implement a slotting schedule. So we were having so many people come through the door and so many people in a hurry to start construction that we just couldn't absorb them all at one time. So we're slotting people in and we're having them work through the process.
Right, and I think it's working out really well, and things seem to be stabilizing a little bit, but we're still experiencing an enormous amount of demand on our service and on our product. It doesn't look like it's going to let up anytime soon.
Yeah, I don't see it. We certainly we're seeing upticks in just other cost of goods. When labor costs are going up. So the good news is interest rates are low. And there are a lot of people looking to tear down, to build new. So it's really, the housing industry prior to this was doing very well. This has just kind of put a hockey stick in the growth.
It was amazing. So lumber prices are going up, other building goods are going up, and labor's going up. So this is also affecting the amount of money that it costs to develop a site. So the site work numbers are trending up as well.
Right. It's got a ripple effect through the industry. I mean, it's just, there's no doubt about it.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, go ahead.
No, I was saying, the good thing with the slotting, so we're still pushing through a lot of projects, but we can't take, 10, 12 projects at a month and try to push it through our system. So slotting has at least helped the burden on the back office so that we can provide a good experience to our customers.
So let me try to explain a little bit what that means. So what that means is if you come into our Stanley Martin Custom Home program, you will go through the process as you normally would. And we've got a lot of great materials. I will say from my perspective, our digital assets have been improved by tenfold since March of this year. We have recreated our program so many times based on feedback from the folks that are going through it, and we're really happy with where it is right now. But you'll go through our process. You'll choose your model. You go into the contingent contract. Michael does the site cost estimate. We work with you to get the pricing of your home together. And then when you're ready to officially go forward in our program, you're going to remove your contingency. And then your job will be scheduled, right? That's what Michael means by slotting. So if you remove your contingency on December 1st, you may have to wait 3 or 4 weeks. Maybe your job is going to get slotted for January 4th. And that is when the back office will pick up your transaction and start working on it in earnest. The interesting thing is that all the trades are really busy right now, including our field survey crews. So when you remove your contingency, we can order your field survey, which has taken about how long now, Michael? We're talking now December 2020. We're having this conversation.
Right.
So,
About 6 weeks.
Right.
Plus or minus.
Right. So if you remove your contingency and we order the field survey right away, we're going to be picking up your job and starting to work on it before we even get the data back from the survey crew. So it may sound like, oh my gosh, we have to wait, but really we have to wait for the survey crew anyway. Is that a correct statement?
Yeah. So they're picking up time in that fashion because quite honestly, and you bring up a good point, when in just normal steady state environment, we would start on the building plan and the grading plan always lags because we have to wait for the survey. So here we're kickstarting the survey crew because they're busy.
Exactly.
And so we can get the information in a timely manner.
Yeah. So I think the point of this update is our industry is in flux. We're under a tremendous amount of pressure right now. The industry is. And we'll give you updates when you come into our program and you start working with us. You can ask us, hey, are you still slotting jobs or is it let up? And we're going to produce a new update on a regular basis all through 2021. So you can look back right here to get a real-time update on what's going on. So let's talk about some of the safety features that are in place with COVID. Because I think everybody, and you know, COVID is just part of 2020. Right. And from where I sit, it looks like we're going to be 2021 is going to be another COVID year. I don't see any magic happening at the end of the first quarter, at the end of the second quarter. We have a lot of good news out there with regard to vaccines and things like that, but we have to wait and see how it plays out. So let's just kind of go through some of the things that we're doing to keep everybody safe.
Right. So the systems and policies we had in place last year continue to carry forward. We're limiting the number of crews going into the house so that we don't have too many people. Unfortunately, we're not showing homes that may be under construction to potential customers out of respect for the current customer and to limit the spread. We are, most of the back office supporting staff is working from home. We're really not experiencing any degradation. We do have some individuals that may go in once a week or whatever, but the office, for all intents and purposes, is just one big vacant area. You know, we're paying bills and doing everything that needs to be done, but all the interesting, I think it's really changing the at least in our industry, the entire paradigm.
Yeah.
In terms of being able to work from home and getting your work done.
An awesome point. And I'll just say it's really been an amazing year for me and the sales side of the company, because we've always had in place a digital purchasing program, because we've always had buyers who are in the foreign service or who are in the military who would buy their homes online, and they would be overseas and they would say, hey, I want to do this and I want the home done when I get back. So when COVID happened, March, April, May of 2020, we started pushing all of our buyers through our digital purchasing process. And it turns out that the vast majority of the folks out there prefer it because they don't have to get sitters for the kids. We can share our screens. And instead of Michael doing his designs on the conference table with everybody sitting around looking over his shoulder, Michael now shares his screen and he can design right on the screen. It's really an amazing experience. Right. There's so much we can do. People don't have to get sitters for the kids. They don't have to take time off of work to come into meetings. They've got their time on weekends where we would normally spend, I don't know, you spend an hour getting to a meeting, you spend an hour getting back. The whole process is just really good. So even I think when COVID passes, we may get back to some of the old habits that we had, but I still think a lot of buyers are going to prefer to stay in the program that we have now.
Yeah, I mean, I think that I find it to be more efficient. I think that the customer gets to see things on my screen real time.
Yeah.
So I think it's a plus. Yep. I wouldn't have said that maybe 6 months ago. Yeah. But from my vantage point, there's really no reason to meet with a customer in person.
Right.
You know, obviously right now out of respect for COVID, but it's it's really just changed the way we operate.
Yeah. So from the sales perspective, it's a huge improvement. I would say the big downside to 2020 is we don't have model homes to show, and we can't bring our buyers into our customers' homes. So Stanley Martin, tell us what's happening on the Stanley Martin side, why we don't have any models on that side, on the corporate side.
Yeah, we have the sales pace has far eclipsed the business plan. So there's really just, we have thousands and thousands and thousands of lots on the corporate side. Some are going through entitlement, blah, 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 blah. So there's a plethora of land, but there's only so much finished product. And so we're opening up projects, and as soon as we open them up, it may be a 30, almost like a small enclave, it's almost sold out.
It's amazing. So they don't have to build a model. There's no need to build a model.
Well, they intend to build the model, and the model gets sold.
Right.
So
right.
We are just moving at a clip that I've certainly never seen in my lifetime. So it's good and bad. Certainly from a market perspective, with less land that is developed, all the builders have to raise their price to try to tamp down the huge demand.
Exactly.
But the demand still keeps coming.
Right. And building materials are going up in price.
Right. And the good news is for our customers who are either tearing down or buying lots, that huge delta between what we build for and what they would buy from a builder is probably now growing. We haven't looked at it in a while, but we used to tell customers the minute you turn your key and you walk into your house, you have instant equity because the profit that the spec builder would make, right?
Yep.
Is going away.
Exactly.
But I think that profit has now going up to some degree.
Yeah.
So
from a sales perspective or a buying perspective, however you want to look at it, I think overall it's a net improvement for the consumer. There are a couple downsides, and I think we'll figure out a way to work through those here in the coming months. So from a construction side, what's happening in the field with the build cycle to keep people safe?
Well, John, it's the same thing where we're managing the number of trades. We're doing all the things that you and I spoke about before, in terms of sometimes people don't, in terms of meetings, we may do meetings using video conferencing in the field. We may with masks and PPEs and large separation, especially if the house is open, right, and well ventilated. We may be meeting with customers. So we're taking all the precautions that are necessary.
So what we'll do is we will roll the previous video. We'll edit out kind of the real-time market update, and then tag right onto the end of this. We'll show you the previous updates, which all the things in that previous video are still valid, and with exception to the timeline of building, which we'll just take that out of the video so it's current. So what's going on with the timeline? So since we're taking that out of the other video, what?
There has. So we have at corporate, we have a team that manages supply chain, right? Supply chain can be as simple as siding and getting siding to the field, or I don't want to use the word complex, but just use lumber, right? So. We have weekly supply chain meetings with corporate and the divisions, and Stanley Martin Customs tags on and is well updated. But we have seen some things where we're trying to order things much earlier than what we would have pre-COVID.
Right.
Because there's so much of demand. We've had a couple instances where something that it was a prototypical easy siding color to get, we weren't able to get, so we had to change the siding color and do a few things. So there are a couple pushes in one way or the other, but generally things are moving on as pre-COVID.
So pre-COVID it would take plus or minus 10 to 12 months to build a house. I think now we're telling people budget 12 to 14 months, right? Because there's a little more uncertainty. and let us pleasantly surprise you if it comes in faster.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely.
So I think that's a good place to tack on the balance of the video. So Michael, thank you for the
welcome,
update.
John.
I'm John Jorgensen. We're going to roll our previous COVID policies. You can watch and see what we're doing. And if you want to get started on the path to your very own Stanley Martin custom home, reach out to us through the website and we'll get you into our program. So Michael, can you tell us at a high level, what is Stanley Martin doing to deal with the way we operate in a COVID-19 world? And how does that really differ from what we used to do before?
Gotcha. Thanks, John. Yeah, so great questions, and certainly there's been a change, a paradigm shift in the overall in the public. I would say at the highest level, if we look at COVID-19 and the effect on just the general construction industry, construction is considered an essential business. So we are not affected by any shelter in place, by any governmental restrictions. So that's good news. And including our suppliers, they are also considered an essential business.
Right.
So that's good.
Right.
We've been operating on cloud-based technology for years. So there's no change in how we operate up and down our departments, from accounting to construction to the back office. So no change whether we're virtual or we're at the office. So that was great news. Also, interestingly, because we are well disciplined, about 2 weeks before the government implemented their, 30 days to stop the spread, whatever
Right.
the
The
terminology,
stay-at-home order.
the stay-at-home orders,
Yeah.
we had already implemented our COVID-19 protocol.
Right.
So where our construction team was required to social distance, wear PPEs,
Right.
we were already working remotely.
Right.
So we were well ahead of the curve and didn't need to scramble to ramp up for that.
Well, and let me just jump in. It was kind of amazing for me because we literally went to work on a Thursday at the office, and then we said, hey, you know what? Let's get ahead of this thing and let's go remote. And Friday, everybody was working remotely. We just took our laptops and set up shop at home, and we didn't even miss an hour worth of work in our transition on the sales team.
Yeah. On the selection side, we have some wonderful videos, right, that we're sharing with our customers during the selection phase and literature. So our design team is meeting virtually with customers through most of the design meetings. And then we do have one in-person meeting with social distancing, with PPEs.
Right.
When we want to look at actual materials, only our design team can pull the materials from the shelves, so we're not contaminating them.
Right. Smart.
And at the same time, each day or each evening, we are having a team come in, wipe down all the surfaces and the materials. So we are being kind of vigilant about, stopping the spread, social distancing, things of that nature. So that's what kind of happening in the, I'll call it pre-construction phase.
Right.
As it relates to the construction phase, 2 weeks before, plus or minus, before the whole 30 days for stop the spread, to stay at home, we had already implemented our COVID-19 protocol across construction. PPEs, using masks. Our instead of doing weekly in-person meetings, our project managers are now required to do FaceTime meetings with our customers, so it's a virtual meeting, and we can walk around and show things in the house. So that's working out wonderfully. We have within our COVID-19 protocol, we are posting yellow signs on all the doors, on our construction sign, large construction sign when you enter the site, and on our Sanagons about what protocols need to be enacted to stop the spread. From a office perspective, we have reached down to every one of our subcontractors to make sure that they're implementing our COVID-19 protocols, right? So it's great if our PMs, our project managers, are implementing this.
Right.
But if the people who are coming out to do the work aren't, then what's the point?
Exactly.
So we're certainly doing that. We're also cleaning our Santa-Johns more regularly. So we're doing a lot of things. Our construction team is reviewing COVID-19 protocol every week. So we're really making this kind of muscle memory for construction. On the inspection side, interestingly, again, we're not having any delays.
Right.
Some of the jurisdictions are saying, hey, instead of having your project manager meet our inspector, we don't want to see anybody on site.
Right.
So when we have a framing inspection, we will do it ourselves, unassisted, if you will, or unaccompanied.
Right.
And we have some inspectors who are actually using FaceTime. I'll give you a personal example. So this is me. I had some electrical work done in my house that I live in. And so we were calling in for our final inspection. And I was like, oh man, I don't want these guys in my house. I'm already a germaphobe as it is. So the day of the inspection, I'm wearing my PPEs. I had PPEs at the door in case the inspector didn't have PPEs. I was already kind of like a little whacked out about it. So I get a call from the inspector. Hey, Mr. Schnitzer, getting ready to do your inspection. I'm like, oh God, here we go.
Yeah.
And he goes, can you accept my FaceTime call? I'm like, sure.
Yeah.
So I had about 8 electrical outlets added and things of that nature. So I was like, oh man, this is great. So I took a hairdryer, plugged it into all my outlets, tested the outlets, tested the GFIs. I had some outlets pulled through some built-ins, and the inspector goes, hey, I need to make sure we have fire stopping between the plate cover and the box. So I had to unscrew the plate cover and they had to verify that. But it went off. I mean, I got my final inspection. Everything was done as if the inspector was there. It was just done through FaceTime.
And he never came into the house.
Never came into the house. So I viscerally get it because it actually happened to me. So that's what's kind of happening in construction. Warranty, we are with customer's permission doing outside work. We are not doing any scheduled service for inside work right now unless there is an emergency. So that's kind of what's happening with Stanley Martin and COVID-19.
Good. Sounds good. So everybody's working hard to stop the spread and to keep everybody safe, both the customers and our team and our subcontractors.
Absolutely.
Good.
So it's working out fine.
Sounds great.
Perfect.
Perfect.
Thanks, John.
Yep.